Coach, I guess just what were you seeing after that goal? Obviously, chances were few and far between before that, but I guess how did you see the team respond, and I guess just defensively after that?
Yeah, the game didn't have, the game was a little bit slower pace in general than I anticipated, which sometimes can happen when you get in this conference, non-conference slate where there's a lot of subplots with decisions on, you know, how much you push guys, a big game, do you rest them? They're a good side. They're obviously a big team. They're a little more direct than they have been in the past, and we had to be ready for that. And I think they felt they had, some size advantage on us. I thought we handled it well. But going back to the goal, I thought obviously Herb, although he didn't have his best night overall and wasn't super involved with a lot, I thought he showed those moments as what he's, he can do things other guys can't. And then Ryan was really clinical on his finish. But yeah, we had a couple more chances, but it was a game that maybe we weren't going to get a lot of chances, and that's okay. You got to win those. This was a good game to win in this way because we haven't had this type of game. So I think you kind of bank it as like kind of a methodical win. Do what you needed to do. Get in the locker room, get home, and get ready for the next one.
For Muni, you talked about playing for just 70 this match and going the full 90. What did you see from him fitness-wise and performance-wise in this matchup?
Yeah, I kept kind of just trying not to make eye contact with the trainer, so he didn't have to keep looking at it. If he said he was done, he was done. And there was a window, and a lot of that's based on the player. And I think the game, because it wasn't a real up and down affair, when I look at our data tonight with our polarized, probably some of the least amount of running I think the groups probably had to do. That really helped me tonight. But yeah, it was one of those only if he feels like he's hurting would be able to take him out, and he kept going, and Brad didn't come over, and of course I would not rule our trainer of his decision, so our doctor was here tonight, so everyone was on board to kind of play it by ear, and unfortunately we got through the game.
I think Muni mentioned the word grit. I guess, do you feel like you guys have a identity at this point in the season? Do you feel like that's something you guys are still developing? How would you just kind of evaluate that at this point?
I think they're getting to be a tougher group. Yeah, I think it's not your first adjective when you kind of talk about this team as like a gritty, tough team, but they have some moments of that, and we're hoping the periods can get bigger. But today it wasn't about how it looked or the chances we created. We didn't get frustrated. We didn't, get all these chances in the second half. It was kind of just the stalemate, and they didn't get rattled by that. That was good. Sometimes when you're up and you're not having as much of the game, you get a little rattled. What's going on? And you can kind of see some guys get tense. There wasn't that. So that kind of shows some mental toughness. Okay, we'll kind of ice this game out. We're going to play methodic. We will too, and kind of take our time on things. And that I think was a good kind of mental toughness piece of this.
With Edley getting Offensive Player of the Week, just what does he mean to your team? What does he do for you?
I think he just always gives our team a moment that others we all wish we could do. You can just break a game open in any second. And he's doing a lot of other things besides that, but that's really what is separating him from some of the other guys. And you just get confidence when you have a guy like on that. You're always feeling like he's a play away to open the game up. And that gives everyone confidence when you're not necessarily in a great form or rhythm. He can do that for you. I mean, he's doing a lot more than that. But that's, I think, what he gives special to our team is just the life he brings with some of his individual unbalancing.
Whit tonight tied his career high for goals in the season. One of the moments that kind of stuck out was he ran for the ball right away on that penalty and placed on the marker, like he was taking it no matter what. Just that kind of, assertiveness that you've seen from him as a redshirt to now. So how have you seen him grow in that way?
He's grown a lot. I mean, he's, Whit's one of the, there's quite a few of our fifth-year guys that have just incrementally got better. He was a talented, kid from Chicago that, like many, had big aspirations, but it didn't come easy at first. A lot of ups and downs. He had to kind of evolve in what his game. He knows that, and it's just a good methodical process to get him to where he is today. And he's been very good for us for several seasons, as you know. But it wasn't like, man, day one he's lighting the world on fire. But you saw it. His IQ, his technique, his ability to find the right pass and to have technique and savvy around goal is really good. And he's worked hard at it. He's worked on his defending probably as much as anything, and his accountability. I mean, he's a player now that we want on the field late in the game on the field. 3 years ago as a sophomore, I would blitz off the field with 15 minutes left, just because we had better defensive guys. So I'm really happy for Whit. He's really progressed and he's done a really good job for us.
You played excellent tonight in a lot of ways, and soccer's a game of luck, but you feel it all lucky not to concede a goal to them between the two off the post and then the offsides one they ruled. Was there any?
Yeah, you got to get I feel like we've not necessarily gotten some great breaks this year, and teams have scored some goals that against the flow or a perfect ball kind of catches us. So I'll take a little break. It's part of the game. You have to get a good break. You got to get a bounce. And we maybe got a couple tonight, but I didn't feel like, man, we were fortunate tonight. I just felt like, we were, like typical game. You might have a block shot or something that goes your way, and you're like, okay, well, we need that. But there's plenty of games where, I felt a little unlucky. So it all comes around.
Looking at your starting 11, of course you had Mooney back, but you also had Sarver and Mahalik start up front together, and you had Nick move over to the left, kind of like what you saw last year, where at this time you went on that big run. Is that something that was in the back of your mind going into tonight in terms of the starting 11?
I think Tommy and Sammy are both really capable partners together up there, and Carson brings a physical element. He can play with his back to goal a little better. Game slows down. I think it helps him. Sammy can really start the game bright with his movement, his stretching. So I like those two together, although I do like at times what Carson does with Tommy and Sammy, and also Wardo. So I think we're getting closer to what the partnerships will look like, and then it just takes maybe a certain game where someone's really on fire and you want to ride that. But I thought tonight there was a good rhythm to it, and some of the substitutions second half were just to kind of ice some more time out of the game and just keep some fresh bodies on it. But no, I thought all our attackers did things well tonight, even though none of them were outstanding. I thought all of them had their moments of what they bring, and that's great.
And in goal, you switched, bringing Pratt back in. What was kind of the thought process behind that? What did you see from him in the match?
Well, we said from the beginning of the season, those two were a wonderful battle. I love the way they both handled it. The whole goalkeeping corps with Austin Cooper included have done a great job. And JT was the first guy, getting the guys going at halftime, giving Pratt some encouraging words. He's just a really good young man, and Pratt was the same way. And it's, you wouldn't say it's like a gut feeling, you just kind of felt like Pratt had an opportunity, took the knock, was out a little bit. I felt like he's now back. We have to kind of see what he can do for this group. And we did feel that some of the aerial balls that might be coming in, Pratt's got a little bit more range with his, some of his ability to catch, and also some of the scrambles on their long throw. Pratt in practice finds ways to make these saves. You're like, where'd that come from? And sometimes that would be the play tonight. So it's kind of like the game itself, and then Pratt in good form. And I told JT he's doing a nice job. It's not, you didn't lose the job. I feel like we have two players that are both very capable, and we'll just keep evaluating. At some point, in this last stretch, we'll want to kind of hone in. But the good news is if one takes a knock, the other one's ready to go. That makes us better.
Up to this point of the season, I guess, what indications have you seen that make you believe this is a team that can make a deep run in the postseason?
Oh, I don't know if you're ever at that point where there's a moment. I think the versatility and some of the challenges we faced that will come out on top is a really good sign that we've developed some important depth in key times of the season and games. I think that's really positive. We need that. And we have some of our attackers starting to really find their form. We need that. And then ultimately, defenders in particular, our back line has to start finding that best fit. And I feel like that group is getting better as the season's going, as is our attackers. That gives me a lot of confidence that some of our best soccer still can be had.
This might be a tough question to answer, but Whit just said that Muni is the best defender in the nation, which you could very well argue. Did you feel that maybe coming in tonight, and I guess knowing what you guys were like without him, that he kind of gave you guys maybe some juice that maybe kind of unspoken in the locker room that you guys didn't know you kind of lacked before tonight?
I think we all know that Muni on the field makes us better. He does so many things makes the guy next to him feel a little more confident. You know, if he doesn't make a play, Muni can cover for him, or Muni's ability in the air, his athleticism and recovery. He just has a lot of playmaking ability. When I say playmaking, he can make moments happen. And that just gives everyone confidence. And so, yes, I think there is an unspoken piece to that is like, yeah, you want him out there. And, you know, we didn't know he was going to start tonight. He had a little bit of something else flared up kind of yesterday, and we're like, okay, let's see where this is. And it was kind of a last-minute decision to start him. So, yeah, I do think he gives everyone a little more confidence. He's a very good one. He's a good defender. And Mike Witt thinks he's the best and like that.
Kind of going off that, with Muni, you kind of want him to be more of a vocal leader in a slow, more methodical game like tonight. Do you see him kind of take over in that role?
He did communicate tonight. Yeah, it was good. He's been doing that better throughout the season, but I thought tonight maybe was his best. And I think, you know, you get sidelined a little bit. You hone in on, like, man, because BB did a really nice job, in particular with his communication. And I think that kind of got Muni going, man, I can do this better. I can do more. And he was really happy that BB did a nice job. And I think when you get your opportunity taken away through injury, you are really hungry to be that much better. And that's what he looked like tonight. He was just ready to make plays, locked in, embracing the moment he had.
I know we talked about earlier when you guys have had the lead earlier in the season and ended up not coming away with the win. I guess what did you see as a difference tonight where you guys had the lead, were able to hold on to it?
I mean, honestly, the second half, I was really confident the whole time. And that's the other halves I'm not, but you know, I did feel that the restarts were dangerous. We talked about the silly fouls, like Joey's at midfield on the goal kick. Like, just don't need any of those moments because they're so good at setting up for good big targets. Once I felt like we were doing a good job there, I thought our back line was locked in. I felt like, you know, this is a game that, you know, 1-0 might be the end, and that's good. I didn't feel like we needed a second to win this game. It would have been nice to get it. So it just had a good feel to it, even though, like, it wasn't our best half of soccer this season, but it was just really kind of methodically diligent, and we just executed and got through it, and that's a good thing for this team.
All right.
Thanks, guys.